Hey, Life Groups, just want to give you a recap of the message from this past Sunday, which is the 4th week of the Hope Lives series. In this one, we started with a video from our Becoming Good Relatives team talking about how they first had the awareness basically enter their lives about Indigenous peoples in Canada. And for the message, I started with a similar story of a time I spent up in Attawapiskat. And from there, we talked about just sort of with that awareness, what do we do with it? And for me, it started with a story of the Treaty of Niagara from 1764, which talked about just which was actually an instance of Indigenous peoples and settlers coming together and having a really beautiful picture of community and planning ahead to do that well together. And from there, we referenced the story that we heard earlier that was a parable or a fable about a young Canadian Prime Minister finding the Treaty of Niagara and being heartbroken that we haven't been honoring it, which is a reference to the story of Josiah finding the Book of the Law and doing the same. From there, the question is, what is the response? Not just heartbrokenness, but actually, what does it look like to take that heartbrokenness and do something with it? And the invitation there is to invite each other into participating in it, to participating in actually taking action together. There's an acknowledgement there that we don't actually know how to do that, and that it isn't a formula, but that we can try and that we're invited and supposed to try as non-Indigenous peoples to move in that direction. And so the Truth and Reconciliation actually serves as a really good starting point for that with their calls to action. And there we talked about the ways that we're trying to deal specifically as a community with 5 of the calls to action that are specific to churches. And so the invitation there was towards financial support, learning about, listening to, personalizing, and we have a few specific invitations as to how to do that, which our Becoming Good Relatives team have been leading us towards in regards to things like a book club and blanket exercise and listening through being a part of events that Indigenous peoples are inviting us to, and even going into Indigenous spaces that we've been invited to, like at the Niagara Regional Native Center. And the hope and conclusion is that by doing this work, we can actually set the stage for the story to change, for the children in our community, the children in Indigenous communities, to have a new story to tell together. Hope you have a good discussion about it together. Thanks.